Hello, folks. Thanks for tuning in. You are watching Talent Talk, and I am your host, Gary McLean. Thanks for joining us, folks. Wherever you happen to be watching from, I hope you're doing well. Just a little thing off the top. I've been doing this the last few episodes. This is an interactive show, so if you are watching, please feel free to comment and ask questions as the show progresses. As much as it is about the guest, it is also about the interaction, which is why we do this live. So feel free to comment and say hi, things like that. Um, we also, near the end of the show, will hopefully have a little our little phrase challenge charades, which of course we also encourage folks to kind of chime in and put their guesses in as well. Having said that, I'm very excited about our next guest here. She is a young lady who was born in New Zealand but raised in the English countryside. Now, we'll find out more about that English countryside, I think, later. Hopefully. Anyway, um, she eventually found her way to LA, where she got a bachelor's degree in theater and film. And I think it was at that point where she decided, you know what, bachelor's degree, that's cool and all, but I need to step up my game. Um, Actually, I have no idea if that's what she was thinking or not. But what she did end up doing is she moved to LA, where she studied both USC's producing and directing programs, and as well as the New York Film Academy's acting school. It was at this time, I think she decided, you know what, that's enough school. It's time to put this in practice. So she went back to New Zealand and started her own production company called Random Films. Um, as an executive producer, she has put out such projects as Legend, Bella, uh, Awkward Love, all of which have been award winners in various festivals. Um, and so now she's taken her talent back to LA, where she's building on her successes of being a producer in New Zealand, as well as doing some acting as well, and trying to get more into that side of things. Um, so please join me in welcoming this very talented young lady, Charlotte Larsen.
Hi,
Hey, Charlotte, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for joining the show. Appreciate
My
that.
pleasure. Yep, absolutely.
So I'm going to get this out of the way right away. English countryside. Which part of the English countryside were you raised in?
Yeah, I grew up just outside London. It's about an hour south of London. So
Okay.
if you know what a map of the UK looks like and where London is, it's right in the middle between London and the south coast. So kind of right in the middle.
Perfect.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, about an hour out of London and a little village, about 3,000 people. But I also went to boarding school in Kent, if anyone knows where that is, which was about an hour away from where I lived. So again, school in the countryside.
Right. So how young were you when you transitioned from New Zealand to the UK?
Well, a long story, but I actually ended up having, when I was about 4 years old, we actually spent 3 years living in Virginia. So
Okay.
yeah, I had 3 years in Virginia, and then my dad was a student at Georgetown, and then when his student visa expired, we decided to move to the UK, and so it was about 7 when I moved to England.
Okay. And when did you make that transition back to New Zealand then?
I did all my schooling in the UK, so I went right through to high school, and then decided to go to university in New Zealand and go back home because I'd never really lived there as full time or as an adult or as a growing up. So I was like,
Right.
I'm gonna
And
go
did you
home.
kind of have that itch as you were living in the UK that you wanted to go back there? Or?
Yeah, my summer breaks were always spent in New Zealand. We'd go back and see family and spend 6 weeks in a New Zealand winter because it's the opposite season.
Right.
So I never really had summers, but all winters. But my family were there, and I never really experienced living there, and I really wanted to go back home and experience that. And there's some great places in New Zealand. It's a very beautiful country, so I was very tempted to go back.
Yes, it's definitely one of those places on my bucket list, which I haven't done yet. So
Yeah, yeah,
one
it's a
day.
beautiful place.
And so when did the artistic side kind of bite your butt there? When did you
Well, Yeah, I mean, I've always been, I guess, creative. I'm an only child, so I think that kind of helped a little bit. So I did my first play at school when I was 10. That was when I was at boarding school. And that was also my first rejection. I was very disappointed not to get the part I wanted. So yeah, I was like, do I want to, do I want to do another play? I'm not going to get what I want. So,
Right.
but it was fun. I really enjoyed doing that. And then I really kept going with that. I did other school plays. And so that's why I decided when I left school, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do theatre and film and go back to New Zealand and study this and be an actor. That was
Right.
my first choice.
So was the acting your kind of first preference then, or was
Yeah,
behind the
I
scenes?
wanted to do acting and directing was kind of where I wanted to head. So I did acting, as I said, in school. I directed a couple of little things at college, and yeah, that was where I was heading. And then left college, started my production company, and that was where I fell into producing because all the things I wanted to make or be in or direct, I had to find the projects and I had to try and figure out, how do I make them? So then I ended up producing, and that kind of fell away the acting kind of fell away because I was so busy producing, and that's kind of how I ended up producing more than acting at that point.
Right. Yeah. No, I kind of get that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah,
Somewhat similar with me as well on a couple of
yeah,
occasions for sure. I definitely prefer being in front of the camera, but so be it.
yeah, yeah.
Hence the reason I created this thing. This way, I'm in front of the camera all the time, right? So
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
perfect.
Yeah.
Um, so when I guess when was your first foray going to LA, and what was your intent when you first went to LA, and when did that kind of?
Yeah, so as I said, I left high school. I really wanted to do acting, so I did the New York Film Academy acting program out here in LA. Like I took a year off between high school and college, and just did a bunch of other stuff. But I did the New York Film Academy, and I did another theatre program in London as well for a few weeks. And so yeah, my first trip to LA was coming to do the New York Film Academy and doing the acting program. And then after that, every year I would come back and do, mostly because of friends I made through that program. I would come back and do vacations in LA, and so I was very used to the city before I even got here. So I knew my way
Okay.
around, and I had friends, and that was kind of a good starting place.
Okay. Um, so let's kind of touch on your first. I know I'm going back a little bit here.
Yeah.
Your first producing project, which was short, or is it a short film? I think called The Edge.
Yeah, it's a cute little animation that a friend of mine did, and I really loved it. It's very, very beautiful, and I think you can still find it online. I'm not sure. It might be around somewhere. My friend Lucy Edwards, she did this little animation, and we actually got it into Cannes in the short film corner. So that was really, really cool that we managed to do that. So yeah, very beautiful 2-3 minute animation that she did.
So 2 to 3 minutes. How long to actually create?
Well, it was kind of her project. She just kind of did it when she had time.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't like a project that we kind of just focused on for a certain amount of time. It was bits and pieces, but animations take a while to do. You have to draw everything and then edit all together. So it was a long process, but yeah, a lot of fun.
Okay. Fair enough. Um, so that was kind of your first producing project,
Mhm.
and how did the producing side kind of develop from then? Was it kind of a steamrolling effect where it was just one after the other at that point, or was it a
Yeah,
gradual build?
yeah. So around then was when I went to USC and did that producing and directing summer program, which was an intense 6 weeks. It was 3 short films in sort of 6 to 8 weeks that you
Oh, wow.
made, and that was really great. It was the program we did was based at Universal Studios, so we were once a week on the set. We were on the back lot, and we were talking to people in the industry. So we had location scouts, we had sound people, we had directors and producers. We would walk on the back lot and look at sound stages and get a history of the studio. But then during the rest of the week, we would be creating our own projects. So we had to do 2 short films. So we did one every 2 weeks, and we had to write, cast, edit, produce, direct, all that ourselves.
Right.
And then our final project was shot on Universal Backlot. And that was a group of 5 people. So we had a camera guy, a writer, an editor, a producer, and director. And that was the culmination of the project, of the program. And so that was our final project, which ended up having like a little mini film festival at the end of the program at the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, understood. When that's actually switched a little bit to your acting portion, which was a bit later, I think, in your career. Am I
Yeah.
like, I think your first producing credit was 2008ish, but your first acting credit was, do you recall? Oh, my computer's not working.
2000, I want to say 12, maybe.
Oh, there we go. Right. So your first project as an actress, I guess. So I got a question for you actually before we get there.
Yeah.
I know for myself, of course, not everything I've done is on IMDb.
Mhm.
I would guess it's probably the same for you. Like, I'm sure you probably had other projects that aren't really showing on IMDb at this time, or is pretty much everything you've done on IMDb?
Yeah, I did. I did a couple of extra background things that I did one in New Zealand, which was a docudrama about earthquakes, and then a couple of other little things on set, extras, being an extra. But until then, until this credit here is mostly theater, so of course that's not listed on IMDb. So.
Right. Yeah. So your first acting project called Lost Angels, I believe, right? And that was another. Was that a short film, or was that what was that?
That was a feature. That was one that I produced as well, and that was here in LA.
And that was in LA. Okay. Okay. Oh, great. And how did you find your first acting experience? Like
Yeah,
that.
so I actually found I met the director and the writer, and he's also in it as well. He's Stan Harrington, very talented filmmaker, and he actually was working at Stella Adler, which is where I went to acting school, and he sort of said to me, you're a producer, and I'm like, yeah, great, yeah, that's what I do. And he said, well, when can we work together? And I said, well, give me a project. And this happened to be the project that he gave me.
Okay. And was that kind of, when you did that, was that kind of your, I guess it kind of ties into my previous question with the producing. Was it kind of a steamroll effect after that as well with the acting side, where you started to see more of an increase in the actual acting portion that you were started doing?
Yeah. So I've worked with Stan a couple of times as well. So like that was with producing, but from being on that set, other people that were making projects said, hey, like, let's, I'd love you to be in this production, or let's work together. And so I've either gotten acting work or producing work through that project as well. And making friends and contacts and so on, it's, it all kind of steamrolls into each other.
Right. And I've kind of mentioned this in previous episodes. Like, it's the whole networking thing, right? Getting to know people.
Yeah.
And kind of building off from there, right? Whether it be on the producing side or the acting side, it just helps to have that that foothold and
Mm-hmm.
like I said, network of people out there.
Yeah.
Especially in LA, like it's such a huge market out there. So kudos to you to finding some success there to begin with. Part of the reason I haven't even attempted is I find the whole concept a bit daunting. So kudos to you for doing it.
Yeah.
And did you have those kind of fears before you went to LA to kind of pursue this? Did you have that thought as well, that, my goodness, am I crazy to even think this?
I don't think so. As I said, I went through the New York Film Academy acting program. I went through the USC filmmaking program, so I had a good grounding. I'd been in LA several, I've kind of so-called worked in LA through those programs, so I kind of understood the business a little bit, and And as I said, like I made friends and I knew the city and I knew my way around before I even got here. So that kind of didn't really phase me. I think it was a really good grounding and having a base to work from. And then when I moved to LA, I was straight into acting school. So I literally flew into LA and started school the next day. So I didn't really have time to kind of go, what am I doing? Where am I going? I was literally right into it. And, I had that to focus on as well. So I wasn't sitting around waiting for work or, trying to figure out how this works or anything like that. So I think I was really fortunate. And I think that really helped me as well to kind of get a kickstart going.
Yeah, for sure. I could definitely see that. And I've had a few other friends who have gone to film school down there, and I think it is kind of the same situation. They're still doing stuff here, but it was a great way to kind of get a feel and a vibe for what actually happens down there. So yeah, no, that makes
Yeah.
sense to me. Um, Before we kind of start touching on some of your other projects here, I also wanted to mention, which I didn't really mention in my intro, is that you're also part of the National Association of Professional Women in Film and Television in
Yes.
New Zealand, correct?
No,
What's that?
that's actually the US. That's
Oh, is that in the U.S.? Oh, okay. Sorry,
yeah.
my bad.
Yep.
So, can you tell us a little bit about that and what that's about, and how what
Yeah,
kind of
I
role
mean,
you play in
it's
that?
it's fairly explanatory. It's an association of women who work in different areas of business. So it could be anything from dermatologists to bankers to producers and actors, but just generally networking and support for women who are running businesses and trying to make a difference and kind of break that glass ceiling, so called, and really just support each other and help each other out and find other women who are doing something similar to you that you might want to connect with, do business with. So it's a great organization for women who are trying to do what they're doing.
Okay. No, fair enough. I realized my mistake there. I actually combined two in one sentence there. So, yeah. So what you're talking about is the National Association of Professional Women, and then the other one I was thinking was the Women in Film and Television, which was in New Zealand, I think. Correct?
Well, they're an international organization, and
Okay.
but I have been a member of that, but I'm now a member of the Women in Film in LA as well. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh no, that's fantastic. So do you find a questioning this? Because I'm not. I try not to be too political on the show, but do you find as a female that there is a bit of a um, is it tougher? Do you find being a female trying to make it in this film world?
I think I've been pretty fortunate that especially in New Zealand, the industry is very small, and so there's a lot of support, and women are very very supported. There always has been a little bit of a fight for women to get what they want and to get where they need to be. But as I said, I think I've been very fortunate. I haven't really come across that problem as such as me being a woman has hindered me in any way. I think even in such a male-dominated, and even less so nowadays, but when I started X amount of years ago, I think being in a male-dominated industry, it has its challenges, and you try to get a project up, and someone says, "Well, this is all about women, and like, what about us men? We want to do things too." And but I haven't really come across anything that's detrimental, and I really haven't come across anything that's too misogynistic. But I don't see it as a problem that's ongoing. I think there's a lot of work that's been done for progressing women, and there's been obviously a lot going on with the industry, and and across all industries. I think is a problem that is coming to light, and that is we're talking about it, and things are happening. So I think that's great.
For sure. I don't know, I think there is a trend, which I'm hoping is leading to a bit more equality. Um, but yeah, I was just kind of curious what your thoughts were or what your experience was on that a little bit. I definitely don't want to delve on that too much because, yeah, like I said, I try not to get too political on the show. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
it's about you. It's about what you do, what you create, and who you are as a creator. That's what this show is about.
Mhm.
So, having said that, some of your other projects that you're currently working on. Actually, let's touch on a one project that the title caught my eye, and I'm as far as I understand, this was done in New Zealand,
Mhm.
called Awkward Love. And for the folks listening, that it's not how you're thinking; it's AUCK, as in Auckland, New Zealand, is how it's spelt, which just caught my eye. So, can you tell me a little bit about that project and what that's about and the success it's had?
Yeah, so it was created by a couple of friends of mine, Holly Shervy, who is a very talented, funny woman who created the show with her partner Emmett, who's a good friend of mine, and they came to me. They said, "We're working on this show. Do you want to get involved?" I'm like, "Of course! Like, this is great." So it's yeah, it's been online. It's won, I think, web festivals and a couple other little festivals as well, or bigger festivals. And it's just a very funny, short episodes of um, dating in Auckland as women in your 20s.
Okay.
So yeah, it's the awkward, um, pun intended, dating scenario, what it's like to be dating in your 20s in a big city, and all the hilarity and disasters and things that occur with that when those situations arise.
Okay. And was that a project that you kind of developed, or was there like? I'm just kind of wondering how it even came into development. Like who brought the script forward and that
Yeah,
kind of deal.
and the whole thing was created by Holly and Emmett and the
Okay.
other very talented people involved. It was for me, um, very hands off, which was great because I could kind of say, this is a show that's, I don't have to go, hey, like, this doesn't work, or, I don't think this is going to happen, kind of thing. They just took it, they ran with it, and they came to me and they said, okay, now, like, what, can you help us? And, can you get involved? And I said, perfect, of course.
Okay. And is there like for now? Is it on the or the festival circuit at this point?
The show's actually, it did, I think 3, maybe 4 seasons. It's not on the festival anymore. It's been, it was done a while ago. So
And
it's still online. I think you can find it on places online. I know in New Zealand it was commissioned by New Zealand On Air, which is our government broadcasting service. I think their on-demand service played it.
okay.
Um, but as of this moment, I'm not entirely sure where it can be found, but hopefully people will be able to find it, and they can enjoy it.
Yes, for sure. I know I'm actually kind of curious to check it out. So, um, definitely. And then, so one other question I kind of got for you when it comes to, oh, let me just see what that's. Sorry, we just got a little comment here. I
Yeah,
think someone may have found it on YouTube.
perfect. Share the link.
So, right? I don't have the option to click on that at this point. I'll check it out later.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, for the folks watching, if you're looking in the comments, just be sure to check out the link and have a look at that. Um, for I see a lot of your credits have especially on the producing side, have the title of executive producer.
Mhm.
Now, I know in most people's minds, when they hear executive producer, they think, oh, the money. Is that kind of the case for you, or is it a different kind of role for you?
Um, it's partly that. So, yeah, it's a lot of people, and even I get confused. I'm like, well, who does what? But for me, when I executive produce, it's partly finding the money, partly kind of looking at the financials and so on. But it's also for me contracting in other things that I can do. So when I executive produce a production, I'm producing as opposed to executive producing. But also it depends on the project, but I've done things like script consulting and what else have I done? Yeah, other things that come around the production. So whether it's making a behind the scenes film, little short or interviews or whatever for the production, as I said, script consulting. So it kind of, a lot of the times I'm doing producing, but I'm also executive producing. And because executive producer credit kind of trumps the producing credit, that's usually the one that I take because I have been involved on both sides. But yeah, generally executive producing is funding, finding the money, investing, trying to find other people to invest, and talking with, depending on the project, a studio or a funder or distributor as well.
Okay. No, that's absolutely fair. A lot of work is essentially what that is.
Yeah, it tends to be.
Right?
Yeah.
Um, but again, I think it also helps with the whole the whole networking side as well, right? Because you do have to reach out and you do have to contact these people and you do have to try and win them over type deals. So
Yeah.
it's something I know personally. I'm not. I was never really good at the whole networking thing. It's definitely something I'm developing as I move along in this industry.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about you. Like I know a common theme, especially with actors, at least, that common theme is, of course, um, which most people from outside the film don't think this, but a lot of us are introverts. Um, so I don't know if you feel the same way about yourself. Like, do you consider yourself kind of an introvert or an extrovert? Or
I'm well, I feel I'm an extrovert, but a lot of the time I sit back and I'm watching and observing and listening. And so people think that I'm an introvert because they're saying, well, she doesn't really talk much and she's not really like participating or like saying things. But what I'm doing is I'm sitting and listening and observing and letting people talk and yeah, just quietly. And I think that's part of me as an actor as well. That's what actors do is we're supposed to do is, observe humans and, sort of see what's going on in the world and just kind of take on other people. So a lot of the time that's what I'm doing. And people are like, oh, she's very quiet and very shy. And I'm like, no, I'm just watching, seeing what's going on. And,
right? Like, yeah, exactly. Like you
listening to
said,
your conversation.
yeah,
But yeah, I think as an actor, you also have to be an extrovert because if you can't put yourself out there, then you can only get so far.
for sure. I know, for example, like I went so many years as just doing a desk job. Like that was my 9 to 5 job.
Mm.
It was just sitting in front of a desk, very rarely interacting with people. And this is like once I kind of got back into the acting thing much later in my life, I found it has helped me, break that shell that I was
Yeah.
in. Um, but I agree, like you have to have some sort of uh, willingness to express yourself and get out there
Mhm.
and talk to these people, which I'm still working on. But
Yeah.
so kudos to you for being there. um, we do have a question. I think we may have touched on this slightly in the beginning.
Yeah.
Um, but the question is, are you more interested in producing or acting in the near future?
Um, Both. I'm very much I'm producing a few things right now. I'm also trying to act in those things if I can, and I'm auditioning a lot as well, which is fantastic. But yeah, both. I love being on both sides of the camera, and so I'm taking whatever project comes, whether it's acting or producing. I'm taking that project as it comes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had that question as well, and it's yeah. Um, for me, it's always acting. I'd much rather be in front of the camera than behind.
Yeah.
But um, again, just comparing markets here, of course, with LA, like I said, it's such a huge market and everything
Mhm.
else. Um, I think you do have kind of that opportunity to really delve into both fairly regularly.
Mhm.
Um, Whereas I know here in Alberta, it's a much smaller market, I find, for the actors. There's just not a lot of productions coming in here, so you kind of have to develop your own if you want to do some acting. So it's a bit
Yeah.
different that way.
Mhm.
Um, by the way, thanks to Chingaze for that question. Chingaze Javari, he's a number one fan of the show. Yeah, no, he's also hosted the show before. So
Great. Hi.
um, let's delve a little bit into. I kind of got sidetracked there a little bit. Um, Another show that you've done that was done in the U.S. I think this was more of a U.S. project, which was Bella.
Yes.
So that one, if I actually before I put my foot in my mouth, can you tell us what that project's about a little bit?
Yeah. So this is one that I produced again with Stan Harrington, who did Lost Angels that we spoke about earlier, and this is a very beautiful film that is about a woman who she spent her life. She was I think an OR doctor or pediatric surgeon or something like that. And so she was never there for her children, and now many years later the children are grown up, and she's kind of summoned her ex-husband and the children and everyone together to have a Thanksgiving dinner. But it's the middle of July, and so the kids are, and everyone's sort of saying, you know, what's going on. And it's about them kind of trying to fix what happened and kind of bring the family back together. But it's a very beautiful, very emotional film.
And is that something else that's kind of made the circuit run?
Yeah, it did the film festivals, won a few awards, and actually is available. I believe it still is right now on Amazon Prime Video, so you can check that out. It's called Bella Thanksgiving in July.
Bella Thanksgiving in July on Amazon Prime. Is that Prime US or?
Yes, yep, here in the US. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Yes. So Legends. Now this was done in the US, but it's actually New Zealand project.
It's actually Australian. Yeah. So
Australia.
yeah. So again, Stan Harrington, who I did Bella and Lost Angels with. This is a sitcom, so it's a different genre and medium. And this is it's set in the 1980s in Australia, and it's about three guys. They were in high school in the 80s together, and now it's present day, and they're kind of talking about how they got to where they are. So there's a lot of flashbacks to the 80s, and then a lot of talking in the present day. But it's we shot the pilot in Melbourne, and now we're looking for it to go to series.
Okay, and so right now it is a series right now.
Yeah.
Okay, just hasn't been completely picked up or anything at this point.
Yeah, we're talking and trying to get things moved ahead a little bit.
Okay. When it comes to, and I'm going to separate this from the producer and the actor. I kind of want your thoughts on from both perspectives. Do you have a specific genre that you prefer? Let's start with the producer side. As a producer, do you have a certain genre you like to produce?
I don't really go for genre. What I look for is good story.
Okay.
So if the story is amazing, if it's, you know, something that can make you think, if it's going to provoke my audience into thinking about something, whether it's, oh, I relate to that, that's my story, or that's not my story, that's something that I've never thought about before, but that was really interesting, that's something that I can experience through this film. Or even if it's just thinking, even if it's just taking away from your life for a couple of hours. So you have 2 hours of being involved in this production, you know, being involved in the movie, laughing, crying, whatever it is, but you're stepping away from your life for a couple of hours, so you don't have to think about, oh, you know, I've got to pick the kids up from school, or you know, oh, you know, I've got to pay the mortgage, or, you know, if those things are what comes across in my movie, then, you know, that's my job, that's what I'm there to do. So whether it's an action film or a comedy or a drama, whether it's a feature film or a TV series or a short. I don't really go for putting anything in a box. That's I'm more of a I want to reach people kind of producer. So yeah, nothing genre specific.
Okay. Totally fair. As an actress, I'm guessing it's somewhat the same. You probably look for a story. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
but as an actress, is there a certain character type that you really want to sink your teeth into or give a shot at that you maybe haven't had a chance to try yet?
Yeah, I mean, I love doing dramas because there's so much in characters, so much that the characters go through that you can explore. You can really kind of delve into human emotion and vulnerability and all these other things that go along with dramas, characters in dramas. But I'm also told I'm really good at comedy, so I would love to be on a sitcom. I would love to get a series and do something a little more light.
Okay, no, that's fair. And so some of the stuff that you have been producing and then that you are trying to get out there as a series and everything else, are you trying to get yourself like do you try and meld the two quite frequently with the producing and acting in the same
Yeah,
project type
if I
scenario?
have that opportunity, I'll produce something, I'll act in something. But if there's a project where I can do both, and Lost Angels was one of those, which was great. Um, yeah, if there's an opportunity for me to be in it, great, because then I'm using both sides of my brain and I'm doing the two things that I love. A lot of the times there's not opportunity for me to do that because, like for example, I produced a hip hop dance film in New Zealand, and I'm like, I can't dance. I have 3 left feet. So anything like that, I was like, you know what? This was one I can produce. I'll leave it to the professionals to do the dancing. Um, but like I said, Lost Angels, I produced and I had a small part in that. And with I'm writing a feature right now that I want to put myself in. So yeah, if there is opportunity, I will produce and act in the same project for sure.
Okay. I do have another follow-up question to that, but I just wanted to say again, thanks to Chingaze because he's actually shared another YouTube link of, I'm guessing, another one of your projects. So thanks to my sleuth Chingaze for finding that info and sharing it in the comments.
Great, yeah.
Um, so again, pitching ideas in LA, I'm assuming has to be kind of a tough process, or at least that's my perception of it. How do you find that so far?
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate because I have, I have my production company in New Zealand, and I have my production company here as well. And yeah, pitching is hard, but I make a lot of my own stuff, which is, that's really great because people come to me with their projects, and I produce them. So I'm not seeking out projects specifically. I will take projects if people have them and they're good. But yeah, pitching is interesting. I'm working on a documentary right now that I can't really say anything about, but trying to pitch it to the right people that we want to get involved. We've kind of emailed, and I'm fortunate too because I have a publicist and she is amazing. She's so great, her and her team, and so she's been able to reach out to people that I might need to contact about different things. But again, as you said earlier, and we talked about, was the networking. So knowing people and having worked with people before, and then getting to know other people through them, and networking, connecting, actually is probably better than just trying to outright pitch to someone you don't know. You can talk to a colleague and say, this is my film, and they're like, great, I know that person who needs to, who can be involved. And it's more of a word of mouth trust thing, I found, rather than going, this is my project, do you want to get involved? So yeah, pitching is hard, especially in LA, because it is all about networking and who you know.
Right. And so that kind of ties into the two newer projects I think you're kind of working on, which is Ditsy's and Laurel Grove.
Yeah.
Are those kind of projects you are trying to pitch to networks at this point, or um, what?
We're not at that stage yet. They're both in script development.
Okay.
Ditsy's is one that it's a great project. I'm really excited about it. It's a sitcom, female ensemble, female-led sitcom, about four women who come to a bar, and they're completely different women, but they all kind of have to come together and make this bar work. But it's a little quirky, which is, that's great. We love that. So yeah, trying to once we've kind of worked on the script a little, we're trying to pitch that to networks and so on. And then Laurel Grove is that's a project that actually my roommate and my very good friend Michael Benzea has created. He's a very talented writer, actor, and co-producer of mine. And that's something that we created, or he created. And that's a medical drama. So he had a background in the medical field, and left that to work in the industry. And so he's using his experience and and knowledge from that to create this medical drama, which I'm also really excited about.
Okay, and he's doing the writing on that, then I
Yeah,
assume. Yeah.
he's writing that.
And so have you guys, for both those projects, have you guys done any sort of preliminary pilot for it or anything like that, or something that you, or
Laurel
is,
Grove, we've shot a couple of scenes. We're just kind of trying to put together a teaser, a little sizzle reel, to give an idea of what that's going to look like and where we're going with that concept. But the script's always developing and things are changing every day. So we're kind of still working on where we're going to go with that. And then Ditsy's, we haven't done anything with that as far as sizzle reel yet. We're still in the process of developing the script and making sure that that's perfect before we go anywhere with that. But we're hoping very soon that we can start getting it out there and shopping it around.
okay. And when you guys look at who you want to shop it around to,
Mm-hmm.
like, are you looking at big networks? Are you looking at streaming services generally? Like, I'm just curious what your focus is, because it's changed so much over the last year for
Yeah,
sure,
I mean,
right?
when I started out, there was no Netflix or anything like that, and it was you do the festival, you try and sell it, you try and get it into theaters. You can put it online if it was a short, YouTube video or whatever. But yeah, it depends on the project. Like I feel that certain projects are, this is a Netflix or a Hulu or a Amazon streaming. This is an HBO project. I have one that I feel is really good for HBO. If they're listening, talk to me. I have a project that I'm like, this could be really great for a network television. This is a Thursday night half-hour sitcom, or this is a Monday night 1-hour drama. Things like that. So depending on the project, you kind of have to see where you think it will fit. So different projects have different qualities, vibes, criteria, I guess. So yeah, when I'm looking at a project, I'm looking at the project on its own, as opposed to, oh, well, this is a Netflix project, or this is a NBC project or whatever. I focus on the project and getting that done, and then I focus on where I think it should go.
Right. And so that kind of ties into the whole marketing slash marketability of the project itself, right?
Mm.
You kind of got to have that in consideration. Um, when it comes to that, do you kind of do your own marketing and market research as to, uh, um, what audience it's going to reach? Do you do that yourself, or do you kind of have a person or team that kind of helps you with that as
Um,
well?
I know from looking at a project most of the time. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell, but I know from reading a script or from looking at a project who the market is. For example, one project I'm working on is very much going to focus on women 18 to 30, and then 30 to 40, 50-year-olds who are of a certain type. But it's not going to appeal to kids. It's not going to appeal to, the retiree age group. This is kind of the market where this is going to sit. Then there are specific some projects that are specifically targeted at this demographic, or I know that, for example, if I have this project that I think would be great at HBO, I know what HBO's target audience is, or mostly who watches HBO, who watches Netflix. Who are these people who are going to tune in to a sitcom on a Thursday night? You kind of have that feel from reading the project, and then that also kind of dictates where you feel it should sit. Once it's finished.
Okay, that's fair. We're kind of in the tail end of the show here. So if you're up for it, I would like to maybe start into our little phrase challenge.
Sure thing. I'll give it a go.
Why not, right?
Yeah.
It's just for fun anyway. But before we get there, I just want to say thanks. Thanks for being on the show, and
Yeah.
thanks for
Anytime.
participating in my little charades challenge here.
Yeah.
Just gonna set up my stopwatch for the folks watching that have not seen this before. This is the little thing we do at the end of the show. We kind of do a little charades. Charlotte on her end is going to have a list of phrases that she's going to try and charade out to us, and we kind of have to guess what she's trying to charade out. And then I will do the same thing, and we'll probably go back and forth 2 or 3 times, depending on how quickly we can get through it, and see who the winner is. Um, Usually the audience wins, which is great. So you know,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So I always let the guests go first. Let's just because I'm a coward that way. So I'll let you go first. So you let me know whenever you got your phrase ready, and then you'll have 1 minute to kind of charade out what
Okay.
what you're trying to portray. Similar rules to general charades. 3 words, first word. No verbal cues or anything like that. And I'll let you know when your time is up, but I'll be guessing at the same time.
Okay.
And for the folks that are watching, there is a bit of a delay from the time you're typing a message to the time I actually see it, probably between 5 to 10 seconds. So we will kind of chat for a few seconds after the time is up, and let you get your guesses in. So yeah, if you're ready, we can get started.
All right, 1 moment. Okay.
And
Okay.
stopwatch. All right. If you are ready, go.
Great.
4 words. First word, down. Perfect. Second word, 4. Down 4. Okay. Down 4. Third word, T. Down 4. Connection. Um, Fourth word. Okay. Down 4. Counting. Count. Down. Oh, down for the count. Haha. Fantastic. Oh, and we did that in 50 seconds, so that was good. So I actually guessed that one, so I don't know if anybody in the crowd had that guess going as well. Hopefully.
Well done if you did.
Yes, perfect. Exactly. Down for the count. Nice one. All right. Let's see. What do I want to? Ooh, that's tough. Okay. We'll try that.
Okay.
Nice. Chingay's got that. down for the count. Perfect. I'll switch it over to me. All right. Here we go.
All right, let me see if I can get this. 4 words. Fourth word. Tooth. Teeth. Tooth. First word. Big. Line. Flat. No. Grow. Long. Long in the tooth.
Brilliant. Done.
Woo.
Nice one. Oh, wow. We're on a roll today.
Woo. 2 for 2.
That was pretty good, right? I know. Oh, geez. Might have to break a record here. Okay, let's switch it back to you. We'll do another one here if you're up for it.
Okay. I don't like any of these.
Nice. Good one, Chingaze.
Okay. All right, ready?
All right, go. 6 words. Oh my. Okay. 7 words. Learn to count. Okay. First word. No. Oh, 1. No. No. Long. Second word. The. Okay. Third word. Point. Peak. In. Ouch. On. In. Oh, our time is up. That was a tough one.
It was very tough. They're all tough. It was not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Sharpest tool in the shed. Okay, yeah. Not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I don't know if anybody else had any of that.
No.
All right. Let's see here. This could be a little bit tough, even though it's only, reset. All right. Are you ready?
I'm not, but go ahead.
All right.
3 words. First word. Break. Second word. The. Third word. Cup.
Oh, time is up. And I just didn't know how to do that last word. Chingaze, you were close with break the mold. Not quite, though. So yeah, it was break the ice, but I had no idea how to do ice.
Oh. That was tough.
Yeah. That ice one threw me right off. All right.
Yeah.
I think we have time for one more if you're up for it.
All right. I'll give it a go. Okay, where are we? Okay. Let's see.
And ready?
All right. Yeah.
Okay. 2 words. Second word. 1
Mm-mm.
finger. Oh, first word. Sorry. First word. Funny face. Um,
Um,
oh, I think I know what you're trying to say. Second word. Chicken dance. Cluck. Fly. Um, clap. Um, duck. Okay. Uh, a duckling. Ugly duckling.
yeah.
Haha. Nice. Ah, that was pretty good. It was a tough one to do. You did well with that.
Thank you. I tried.
Yeah,
I was like, how do I do this?
yeah. No, that was good. Oh, guess I can stop that. There we go. All right, the last one, and then we'll wrap it up. So yeah, let's get this done. Switch that over, and um, that could be. Oh, this could be. I think I tried this one on a previous show, but I like it. I think it'll be a tough one.
Hmm.
Okay, here we go. Oh, goodness me. Okay, there. All right.
3 words. Third word. Phone. Call.
Um,
Second word. Up. First word. Wake up call.
done. Well, I think that was actually one of the better shows for getting them right. So nice work,
Thank you.
and thanks to those who were participating. I know it's kind of sometimes it's actually a bit of a downside when we do get it right, because then the folks that have that delay with comments don't get really a chance to get their comment in.
Hmm.
But
Yeah. Well, they're smart. They did.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So having said that kind of wraps up our show for today. Thank you for participating in my little charade game. That was fun. Enjoyed that.
Thank you. Yeah.
And thanks for being on the show, for one thing, and taking the time out of your busy time
Yeah.
here.
No,
So,
great. Thank you. Anytime. It was a lot of fun.
and yeah, so, and also thanks to the guests that were popping in, saying hi, making comments. Appreciate that. And tell your friends. Yeah, so we can get more people watching the show, and
Yep.
we'll go from there. I will ask you to stick around just for a couple minutes after the show, if you don't mind, Charlotte, and
Yep.
we'll just say goodbye to the crowd. Thanks for joining. If you missed this live episode, be sure to check it out after the fact. It's available on both YouTube and Facebook, and should be available on the website as well. The one thing I did want to throw up here, if you do want to check out more of Charlotte's work, you can do so on her website, randomfilms.com, and you can also check her out on Twitter. So be sure to check out the little address here that's scrolling by, and check out some of her work. I think we're going to see some good things from Charlotte here in the near future. So thank you very much, everybody, and we will touch base next week with next week's guest, who is Troy Greenwood. So watch out for that next week. Thank you very much. Have a good day, everybody.